Hi everybody, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Gabby, and if you've never been here before, never watched any of my videos, have no idea what I do here on my channel, I cover true crime cases, and all the cases that I cover are a little bit older. They're all basically 20 years or older, so if that's something that you might be interested in, maybe go down below, click that subscribe button, and also make sure to turn on the post notifications to be notified every time that I upload. So recently, I have been working pretty hard on two upcoming cases that I'm covering here on my channel. I'm working with family and advocates for both of those cases. But until I get my next video up, I didn't want to leave everyone hanging this week and not have a case video. So I decided I would take this opportunity to cover a case that I have definitely been thinking about a lot lately. I was scrolling around Unidentified Wiki and I came across this Jane Doe case. A Doe case that is truly unlike anything I have ever heard before. As I was researching for this video, I realized that this case has not been discussed on the platform of YouTube. It's barely been discussed online at all. I think I saw one person do a TikTok video on it. It definitely deserves a little bit more attention, so that is what I'm here to do today. It's also a case out of Brazil, and I have never covered a Brazilian case before. Now do keep in mind, I do not speak Portuguese. I tried my best with pronunciation, but obviously my pronunciation is not going to sound as great as someone who is fluent in the beautiful language. With all of that being said, let's get right into it. This case takes place in Vitória, the small capital city of Espírito Santo state in southeast Brazil. It's known for its beautiful sandy beaches and rich culture, a main tourist destination of the country. Although Vitória is picturesque, that doesn't mean it doesn't experience any violence. The suburbs can be more dangerous, but the city is known for being overall safe, primarily during the day, if you do stick to the parts of it that are more populated by tourists. On June 12th of the year 2000, though, some locals would witness something terrifying: a woman frantically running through the streets. It was obvious she wasn't just taking her daily jog, she was running from something, most likely someone. It is believed she was attempting to escape an assailant. Sadly, during her panic-stricken pursuit, she found herself in the path of a passing vehicle, resulting in a devastating collision. The person who hit her, though, kept driving, and no one who saw what happened was able to get the person's license plate number. This person, still today, has never been identified, and it is unknown what gender they are or any of their physical characteristics, even what vehicle they were driving, whether it was a truck, a car, a van. We don't know. I was curious if the person who hit her was the person she may have been running from, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Neither the person or the people she may have been running from or the driver of the vehicle who hit her has ever been identified. That is also a mystery. An ambulance was immediately called to the scene while the woman lay on the road hanging on for dear life. When the ambulance arrived, she was carefully transported to the local hospital. However, to the astonishment of both witnesses and medical staff, no identification documents were discovered on her person, and no one recognized her. Who this woman was unknown, so they classified her as a Jane Doe. After such a horrific incident, they wanted to notify family of hers, but they weren't even able to find out who she was. As a result of being struck by the vehicle, she fell into a coma. And in a coma is where she would remain for over 23 years. Upon falling into a coma, she was hooked up to life support equipment. Hours passed that first day, and people surrounded her and kept checking on her, hoping that she would come out of it, but she never did. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, months turned to years. After roughly a year of being in the coma, she was transported from the original hospital in the capital of Espírito Santo to another hospital called Military Police Hospital, and this is where she would remain until her death. They knew so little about this Jane Doe, but they knew that she was white. They guessed her to be between the ages of 18 to 21 when she was hit, and she had a C-section scar. So this was a mother. She possibly had a child or children out there somewhere wondering why their mom never came home. They may still be out there today wondering what happened to her, and they deserve to know. Authorities spread information regarding her around Brazil and received many phone calls through the years of people claiming they knew who she was. But all leads went nowhere. In 2016, after lying in her hospital bed for over 15 years, she was given the name Clarinha by the main doctor who took care of her. The doctor, Lieutenant Colonel Jorge Patras, was the main person who looked after her through the years. But despite the newfound title, the journey towards discovering her true identity encountered further obstacles. Another person who cared for her dearly was Police Captain Norma Sully-Gil. The state public prosecutor's office, Norma and Jorge, who treated her like his own daughter, wanted to find Clarinha's family. During this year of 2016, her case was featured on Fantástico TV, a Brazilian news station. Reconstruction photos were done in 2016 as well to show what she would possibly look like if she was conscious and what she closely resembled back in 2000 when she was hit. 102 families called in claiming that they think that she may have been their missing relative. Many of these families were ruled out almost immediately, but 22 of them seemed like possibilities. At this point, Clarinha's fingers were too atrophied to get any prints. They had to rely solely on DNA. Out of that 22, 4 were discarded due to incompatible information. Her DNA was then tested against the DNA of members of these 18 families left, and eventually all of these 18 potential matches were ruled out. This case hit dead end after dead end for so many years. In August of 2021, a new lead came in and they decided to look into it. There was a little girl named Cecilia, only a year and 9 months at the time, who was kidnapped back in 1976 while on vacation in Guarapari. Vitória is roughly an hour's drive northeast from the area they were visiting. There was a reconstruction photo done of what Cecilia may have looked like at 33, and someone thought that it looked a bit like Clarinha. Cecilia would have been roughly 26 years old in the year of 2000 when this Jane Doe was hit and fell into a coma, which is a little bit older than what they thought this Jane Doe could have been at the time. Cecilia would have been roughly 47 in the year of 2021 when this theory arose. Through DNA testing, though, they were able to positively conclude that Cecilia was not their Jane Doe. Cecilia is still missing today, and her sister Deborah is still fighting for answers all of these years later as to what happened to her little sister. Clarinha continued to sit nameless in her hospital bed. As Jorge explained, we classify coma on a scale of 3 to 15 points. 15 is the patient awake and lucid, and 3 is the deepest coma. She has no contact with us, and that is why we consider her coma from 7 to 8. A team of papilloscopists from the National Public Security Force ended up putting a photo of her into databases for missing people. Unfortunately, there was no match through that method either. Obviously, to take care of someone who is in a coma with no help from the family for that many years is not easy. As Jorge was quoted saying, "A person who is hospitalized needs basic products to be able to take care of themselves and maintain themselves. Personal hygiene, cleaning, diapers. I am always acquiring this type of material to help this girl." He paid for all of this out of his own pocket. On March 14th of 2024, just a few months ago, it seemed like Clarinha was getting sick. They did everything they could have at the time to try to save her life, but she passed away that night as a result of bronchoaspiration. Bronchoaspiration, also known as just aspiration, is when food, liquid, or other material accidentally enters the airway and lungs. It can happen with swallowing or when stomach contents come back up. Bronchoaspiration can lead to serious health issues such as pneumonia, chronic lung scarring, and other diseases, or in this case, death. Most people out there have experienced pulmonary aspiration, which is when you eat or drink something and it goes down the wrong pipe, as we say. Bronchoaspiration, though, can happen to someone who is experiencing a depressed level of consciousness, such as an injury to the brain, having a stroke, suffering from dementia, a use of sedatives, being drunk or on drugs, or in a coma. Jorge, who has retired but visited her weekly, was devastated by her passing. He said, "It is very sad to have this outcome, but we have to remember that God has a purpose. In the future, I will understand all of this. We try to make her life, which is so difficult, more dignified. This ending is sad." They said that they are going to organize something and just make sure that she has a proper burial and a beautiful gravesite, a place for especially the people who helped her case through the years to go visit and pay their respects. The 28th Civil Justice Prosecutor of Vitória, her name is Arlinda, continues the investigation investigation work on Clarinha's case and hopes to eventually give her her actual name back and, of course, locate her loved ones. They believe that when she passed away, she may have been in her mid-40s, which when you think about it, we don't know because we don't know her actual age, but she may have spent more than half her life in that coma. As a Reddit poster said, Clarinha is the diminutive of Clara in Portuguese, which means clear or bright. By adding the ina at the end, it would be an affectionate way to call her essentially little bright one. Like so many people have said in forums online, she may have come from another country. That could be why nobody in the area recognizes her and why she hasn't been found in databases. She may have been in South America illegally. She may have been running from a captor or an abusive significant other. She could have been sex trafficked. Sometimes a family might have a missing loved one and they just think that something horrible happened. They go through their grieving process and they move on. They may not consider researching into different organizations to try to locate that missing loved one. I truly believe that this might be one of those cases that is eventually solved with the power of the internet. I did try to find out what genetic databases her DNA was entered into. I could not find out that information. I was mostly trying to figure out if her DNA had been entered into GEDmatch. GEDmatch is a genetic database and they have done wonders for identifying unidentified descendants. The thought of her having a child or children out there who today are most likely in their 20s, who have never come across the Jane Doe case of Clarinha and have wondered all of these years what happened to their mother is just devastating. I truly, above all, hope that Clarinha can get her name back eventually and that her loved ones can have some sort of peace of mind, because I have seen families go so long just wondering what happened, and that may be the situation with her family. Thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day to hear about Clarinha's case. This is a case that I have not been able to stop looking into. I feel like there's just not a lot of information out there regarding it. I think there are like 10 news articles. I'm pretty sure that's about it. Any other cases that you possibly want me to cover here on my channel, make sure to send those requests over to gabulosiscaserequests@gmail.com. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Stay safe like always, and I hope to see you back for the next video.